in the headlines of this hour on VTV News. ASEAN pledges to support open trade amid U.S. tariff pressure. And Vietnam races to meet EU anti-deforestation rules for coffee exports. In our world news, coalition of the willing meets on deployment of forces in Ukraine.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello, it's 3 p.m. local time and you're watching VTV News. I'm Huyền Trân with the top stories. General Secretary of the Communist Party of China Central Committee and President of China Xi Jinping will pay a state visit to Vietnam from April 14th to 15th. The visit comes at the invitation of General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam Central Committee Tô Lâm and State President Lương Cường. In other news, ASEAN finance ministers have pledged not to retaliate against U.S. tariffs and reaffirmed support for an open, rules-based multilateral trading system. The commitments were made during a meeting that concluded on Wednesday in Kuala Lumpur.
In response to U.S. tariffs ranging from 10% to 49% on member countries, ASEAN finance ministers cautioned that these measures could impact the region's growth outlook and lead to increased volatility in capital flows and currencies. ASEAN reiterated its commitment to an open, inclusive, and rules-based multilateral trading system and to advancing regional economic integration. The bloc pledged not to impose reciprocal tariffs against the United States. ASEAN also expressed readiness to work with all partners, including the United States, to find balanced and forward-looking solutions that support a more resilient and sustainable global economy. Amid mounting global uncertainties, ASEAN stressed the need to boost financial resilience and accelerate financial integration within the bloc to strengthen intra-ASEAN trade and investment. The bloc urged international financial institutions to focus more closely on the risks posed by rising tariffs and to advise members on policy tools to manage these risks effectively.
The European Union, or EU, and China have agreed to consider setting a minimum price for Chinese-made electric vehicles rather than continuing with the tariffs imposed by the EU last year. EU Trade Commissioner Maros Sefcovic recently spoke with Chinese Commerce Minister Wang Wentao, and both sides agreed to explore the possibility of setting a minimum price. In October of last year, the EU raised tariffs on Chinese-made electric vehicles to 45.3%. And this decision has escalated trade tensions between the two major economies. Both parties have discussed the idea of removing tariffs through potential commitments on minimum prices. The German Automotive Industry Association has welcomed the EU-China talks, calling the tariffs a mistake and supporting a negotiated solution. Continuing our international updates, for the first time in months, the U.S. Consumer Price Index CPI declined. In March, the CPI fell by 0.1% from February, signaling a positive but unsustainable trend. The drop was primarily due to a more than 6% decrease in gasoline prices, along with lower airfares and used car prices. However, prices for new cars and clothing increased. The price of chicken eggs also continued to rise, now 60% higher than the same period last year, due to the impact of the bird flu epidemic. Compared to last year, the CPI increased by 2.4%, lower than the market forecast of 2.6%. And the cooling of inflation is a positive sign for consumers and the U.S. economy. However, the imposition of 145% import tariffs on most goods from China could drive prices up and push inflation higher in the near future. International coffee markets have rebounded after fluctuations caused by U.S. tariff announcements, and this resurgence follows the United States' decision to temporarily reduce trade levies for 90 days, easing market tensions. In Vietnam, the world's leading Robusta coffee exporter, domestic prices have also risen. Green coffee bean prices increased to around $4.6 per kilogram after several consecutive drops. and this price hike helps alleviate pressure on Vietnamese coffee farmers. Expanding on the earlier report, under anti-deforestation rules set to take effect later this year, coffee exports to the EU must be fully traceable and free from deforestation activities. The rules apply to large companies from December 30th, 2025 and to small businesses from June 30th, 2026. Firms that fail to comply will lose access to the EU market, prompting Vietnam to rush to build traceability systems to meet the new requirements.
Although the EU has delayed the enforcement of its anti-deforestation regulation, EUDR, by 1 year, Vietnam is pressing ahead with preparations. The Ministry of Agriculture and Environment and the Ministry of Industry and Trade have issued guidelines and conducted training to help industries comply with the new rules.
The government of Vietnam, they are doing a very good job to map the areas and to have this position and to have Vietnam ready for this kind of export. Since
a lot of Vietnamese companies suffer from is that they don't have the proper documentation. Documentation means that they're recording the type of fertilizer they use, that they're recording the type of plant protection that they use.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Environment has piloted a plantation data system in 3 districts in Dak Lak and 1 district in Lam Dong. All coffee-growing areas in these districts have now been mapped and entered into a centralized plantation and forest database. The system aims to secure Vietnam's coffee exports to Europe and lay a foundation for sustainable growth.
Vietnam's biggest challenge is the small scale of its coffee farms, which makes certification costly. The ministry and local authorities are working to link provincial databases with national systems and share the information with businesses.
Looking ahead, more countries may adopt EUDR standards. To maintain competitiveness, Vietnam's coffee sector plans to keep its cultivation area between 640,000 and 660,000 hectares, while increasing its processed coffee production to 20 to 25% of total output.
Vietnamese grapefruit has launched sales at Lotte Mart supermarkets in South Korea. And this is a significant milestone in introducing Vietnamese agricultural products to high-end international markets. South Korea ranks as Vietnam's 5th largest fruit export market. And Vietnam produces over 12 million tons of fruit annually, with pomelos making 10%. After this initial shipment, the Lotte Group plans to assess market response before potentially expanding distribution to more branches based on consumer feedback. And before moving on to some other news, let's take a look at the foreign exchange rate for today, April 11th. Coming up next on VTV News. Vietnam develops mini fire truck for urban alleys. And Vietnamese composer Hoàng Văn collection honored as UNESCO World Memory Heritage. Welcome back to VTV News. Now, the Vietnamese rescue and relief team has safely returned to Vietnam after a week-long earthquake relief mission in Myanmar. The team excelled in their rescue mission, leaving a positive image of Vietnamese soldiers in the hearts of the Myanmar people and the international community. The following story has more on this.
5 days after the earthquake, signs of life miraculously appeared under the rubble. Vietnam's forces immediately carried out a rescue mission.
I used my hands to dig and remove layers of rubble, trying my best to reach the victim. I managed to create a small hole and reached down and touched the victim's hand.
He seemed still very strong.
This warm handshake gave the victim more hope and strength to wait until being pulled out from beneath tons of concrete, brick, and steel.
They rescued and treated me here. I am very grateful to the Vietnamese army.
The Vietnamese rescue team consists of 80 soldiers and 20 police officers. Less than 48 hours after the disaster, they arrived in Myanmar and divided into 4 groups. As the hope of survival remained high, they could not use heavy machinery, which posed too much risk for any survivors under the rubble. As a result, the rescue team carried out their rescue attempts by hand using only rudimentary tools.
We worked in excellent coordination with the Vietnamese People's Army rescue team. Your team was incredibly brave and professional. Thank you for helping our country and now Myanmar as well.
I deeply felt the spirit of the Vietnamese search and rescue team. They worked from early morning until late at night, with incredible intensity. We even suggested they take a day off, but they insisted they came here to work.
One survivor was found, and the bodies of 28 victims were recovered and returned to their families. This was the result of the tireless efforts of the Vietnamese rescue team, working in coordination with other international forces. In addition to human resources, the Vietnamese team provided free medical checkups, assisted with disinfection efforts, and addressed environmental issues. These efforts were all to help the people of Myanmar stabilize their lives following the disaster.
In our local news, frequent fires in Vietnam's narrow alleys have been challenging for rescue teams. And to address this issue, a group of Vietnamese researchers and engineers has developed a compact fire truck designed to navigate tight spaces. Small and agile, the vehicle can quickly reach deep alleyways, allowing for immediate firefighting and rescue operations.
During a simulated fire drill in a narrow alley, the mini fire truck arrives swiftly at the scene. At just over 2 meters wide, it maneuvers easily to the alley's end. With its ladder and 300-liter water tank, the truck quickly extinguishes the blaze.
I have seen many fires in small alleys where no firefighting could be done. This truck is a very good solution.
Launched early last year, the vehicle is equipped with a full set of tools. The right side houses demolition equipment, including bolt cutters, hammers, axes, and ladders. The left side contains fire extinguishers, helmets, and first aid supplies. A water tank sits alongside a foam tank, specifically designed to extinguish gasoline and chemical fires within minutes.
When we need to break locks or smash doors or walls, this sledgehammer is enough. To reach the 2nd or 3rd floor, this ladder is effective. The compact truck fits into narrow spaces, greatly improving firefighting efficiency.
Large fires often start small and then spread. If we can tackle them early, we minimize damage. This truck also meets rescue needs, not just firefighting.
The mini fire truck is currently undergoing expert evaluation for improvements. Though not yet on the market, it has already drawn interest from manufacturers across Vietnam and Asia.
Drought fears have resurfaced in the South Central region and Central Highlands provinces this month. More worryingly, the situation has grown increasingly severe, disrupting people's lives and livelihoods. With support from the Green Climate Fund and the UN Development Program, farmers are learning adaptive strategies to cope.
Many farmers in Nhon Hai Commune, Ninh Hai District, Ninh Thuận Province have come together to tackle a common challenge, protecting their farmland and livelihoods from severe drought. The project enhancing the resilience of small-scale agriculture to water security due to climate change, funded by the Green Climate Fund through the UN Development Program, UNDP, has already helped more than 7,000 households across 15 communes.
People now use water efficiently through drip irrigation and conservation.
Through training, farmers learned that water conservation was essential to ensure an adequate supply for the community. Many adopted drip irrigation systems. These conservation methods have helped Ian maintain his water supply throughout the drought period.
This method helps plants grow better by ensuring even water absorption.
The project is also being implemented in 4 provinces, Đắk Lắk, Đắk Nông, Bình Thuận, and Khánh Hòa. Since 2021, flexible approaches have helped farmers improve drought resistance.
This model helps people save water for production and livestock, ensuring high efficiency. Therefore, people are very supportive.
Farmers are learning efficient irrigation and farming techniques to maintain productivity during droughts. Encouraged by early successes, many are now eager to adopt new methods, recognizing that drought resilience requires both irrigation investment and flexible farming solutions.
We continue with updates on the preparations for the 50th anniversary of the National Reunification Day. More than 8,000 officers and soldiers from the armed forces participated in joint training at Biên Hòa Airport, Đồng Nai Province on Friday morning. The training prepares for the parade celebrating the 50th anniversary of the liberation of the South and National Reunification Day. 52 military and police parade groups joined the training since early morning, marching across the stage in precise formation with determined steps to dynamic military music. Meanwhile, the Vietnam People's Air Force practices flag-raising formations in the sky. The Su-30 Mk2 fighter squadrons will perform heat trap drops as one of the ceremony highlights. And in the cultural scenes, for the first time, a Vietnamese music collection has been added to UNESCO's Memory of World Register. The collection by composer Hoàng Vân features symphonic poems such as The Nation's Rampart and Điện Biên Phủ, along with songs like My Homeland Quảng Bình, Song of Cannon Howling, and Hà Nội Huế Sài Gòn. UNESCO praised the works for their outstanding universal value, highlighting how the collection richly reflects Vietnam's historical transitions and the spirit of its people across decades. Hoàng Vân's compositions uniquely blend European classical music with Vietnamese folk traditions, providing both artistic excellence and valuable insights for cultural, social, and historical research. The well-preserved collection, now widely accessible through digital platforms, helps promote Vietnamese cultural heritage globally. The opening ceremony of the 8th Vietnam International Choir Competition took place on Wednesday at the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Hội An Ancient Town. First launched in 2011, the biannual competition was jointly organized by the city of Hội An, Quảng Nam Province and Japanese Intercultural Association and has proven to be a hit with audiences.
Choirs will compete across 11 categories. They will deliver performances that blend technical precision with the cultural traditions of their home countries.
It feels great to be here. We are very privileged to be able to join this competition. It's actually a chance for my students to join an international stage.
As part of the competition, audiences can enjoy a vibrant lineup of activities, including a choir parade in Hoài River Square, exploring the town's timeless beauty in Hội An Legendary Night, the International Melody Friendship Concert, and cultural tours around Hội An.
This time we have almost double choirs, almost 30 choirs, so it's getting big again, and I expect it maybe in 2 years to be even bigger. So it's growing again. This is so fantastic hall. The show, yeah, you know, they have fantastic dancers. Every time they come up with new ideas, and as I told you, like I saw this time a lot of creative ideas with a lot of symbolism in the show.
Through the convergence of cultures, music, and song, the competition aims to foster love, compassion, and friendship among humanity. The 8th International Choir Competition will run from April 9th to 13th in Hội An.
Coming up next on VTV News. Coalition of the Willing meets on deployment of forces in Ukraine. And Ho Chi Minh City hotels surge to full capacity for reunification holiday. Now moving on to an international update, about 30 defense ministers from NATO member nations gather at the alliance headquarters in Brussels to advance plans for deploying forces to Ukraine for peacekeeping, should a ceasefire or peace agreement with Russia occur. The meeting aimed to finalize agreements from previous leadership discussions. The composition and location of the peacekeeping force would depend on the terms of any future peace agreement between Ukraine and Russia. Russia has consistently opposed foreign troops in Ukraine, but at the meeting, many countries emphasized the United States' vital role in advancing peace in Ukraine. And as the U.S. encourages Europe to take greater responsibility for its security, the formation of a peacekeeping force represents a crucial test of Europe's commitment to defense self-sufficiency. In the United Arab Emirates, Circa Biotech is turning food waste into sustainable resources by using black soldier flies. And after feeding on waste for 10 days, the flies are dried and processed into oil, which is then used to produce aviation fuel, offering an innovative solution for both waste management and clean energy.
These insects are being used to convert food waste into fuel.
It's called the black soldier fly. It's a beneficial insect that eats enormous quantity of waste.
It's all part of a process engineered by Circa Biotech, based in the United Arab Emirates. The company is breeding thousands of black soldier flies, which they say could help tackle a global environmental problem. Here's how it works. Workers bring in food waste to Circa Biotech's warehouse in the Al Ain Desert. That food waste is processed and fed to the black soldier flies.
So 5 days later, they grow to this size. And you see almost half of the food is gone.
The insects are then roasted and put through a machine to extract biofuel from them.
In 10 days, they grow 500 times their initial weight. They eat all the food waste that we give them. After, we harvest them and we extract protein and oil.
The company also harvests the flies' eggs to breed more of them, meaning the cycle can continue.
For us, the purpose of this phase is to recover eggs. And this is what will help us to continue the cycle on and on and on. And we don't need to bring other eggs from outside the facility. So this is what we call the breeding phase.
Phie says the process helps to recycle and reduce food waste, as well as creating an alternative and sustainable source of power.
Festivals and events commemorating the National Reunification Day in Ho Chi Minh City are drawing large crowds of tourists. The city earned over $3.8 million in tourism revenue during just the first week of April, while also welcoming more than 3.5 million international visitors in the first quarter. Revenue from accommodation and food services topped $1.4 billion, the highest in the country, representing a 25% increase compared to the same period. As the second quarter begins, upcoming events including the Ho Chi Minh City Tourism Festival and the 50th anniversary of National Reunification Day celebrations are expected to bring even more visitors to the city. And with the holiday fast approaching, hotel bookings and services in Ho Chi Minh City are surging. Accommodation establishments report that guest numbers have more than doubled compared to last year, prompting rapid preparations.
Hotels are rushing to prepare reserved rooms, with bookings reaching nearly 100% for the National Reunification holiday, a 70% increase from last year.
We strengthen internal training, organize flexible shifts, and add staff to ensure attentive service. Operational processes are carefully reviewed to promote a spirit of dedication and professionalism across the entire team.
Ho Chi Minh City houses over 3,200 tourist accommodation establishments, including more than 130 hotels, offering approximately 55,000 rooms. Most establishments have increased their staffing by 15 to 40%. The tourism sector is also encouraging hotels and restaurants to enhance their offerings through special activities, additional services, and holiday promotions.
The number of visitors to Ho Chi Minh City is currently very high, making it essential to ensure adequate facilities and service quality to welcome them.
We work with metro operators to provide additional incentives for passengers who choose to stay in our hotel.
The Ho Chi Minh City tourism industry is coordinating with accommodation, shopping, dining, entertainment, and healthcare providers to enhance service quality and maintain a clean, safe destination. The industry has also pledged to prevent price increases during the holiday period.
Phong Nha Kẻ Bàng National Park in Quảng Bình Province has been recognized as Vietnam's top destination for adventure tourism by the renowned UK travel magazine Wanderlust. The park's main attraction is its vast network of majestic caves nestled within a pristine ancient forest and natural landscapes. These features draw numerous tourists seeking unique adventurous experiences, with activities ranging from cave kayaking and underground river exploration to overnight camping in deep cave systems. Notably, Wanderlust previously included the park's Sơn Dom Cave in its list of 9 destinations with surreal beauty. Quảng Bình Province is actively developing infrastructure and attracting investment with a focus on modern, coordinated approaches that prioritize green and sustainable tourism growth. And as usual, let's move on to the weather forecast. And that's all the news we have for this hour. To rewatch our program, you can download our mobile app VTVgo or check out our YouTube channel VTV4Go. Thank you for watching and see you next time.